cheers. Happy Tuesday.
Oh, gross. Cheers. You could tell Deb was so excited. If you're not, if you're not watching or just listening, the joy on Deb's face, which is like, I'm gonna spice this thing up this week and say cheers. I'm not even sure what to do. Like I said, I'm not fighting this thing anymore. I'm just gonna let it happen. I'm just gonna let it happen to me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, if you're not watching, I just raised my beer glass that's from Flat Stick. I don't know if I stole this or if I bought it. I can't remember, but this is my Flat Stick.
I think the fact that you're asking that question, we all know what happened there. I don't think we need to go any further.
But I'm
What's up?
drinking Log Off beer.
There you go.
It's the best. Anyway.
Have you guys, I forgot what episode it was, but have you guys come up with anything for Connectable? A Connectable beverage of any kind?
No, I got to run it by Kenny.
You'll never run it past him.
I will.
No.
So, yeah. Here's what I haven't told you. I work there now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So what's another job?
Give him massages in the back?
No, this is how it went. Nicole, because Nicole's the manager, and she was like, oh, I need help with music bingo. And I'm like, cool, I'll help with music bingo. And then it turned into, well, wait, I kind of need you behind the bar that night. I need you to be a beer tender. And I said, okay, because I've helped out at events before, just kind of like, show up and kind of volunteer and help in exchange for some beer. And then
that sounds like you attended some events and then made your way behind the counter.
Yeah. But I worked.
Like, who is this person? I'm Deb. Happy to help.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. Happy to help and serve myself beer.
There you go.
It turned into, well, can you just come and work if I need you sometimes? And I'm like, yeah, I think that's the deal. And then it turned into, we're just going to put you on payroll.
Very nice.
And now she's like, so I worked last Saturday, or no, 2 Saturdays ago, and then I'm going to work again this Saturday.
Very nice. Just multiple streams of income for you.
Yeah. Well, this is, I get half off beer, so that's nice.
Yeah. Is that why you're doing it?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Awesome. Well, that's pretty cool. Okay. So all that being said, I still don't believe you that you'll make this happen, but that's okay. Good for you. Good for you.
Well, you got to give me some, we got to talk about what flavors we want to use.
Yeah, we talked about it before, and I feel like whatever. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, do we want it to be a seltzer, an IPA, a sour?
This is the kind of drink is really up to you because, as you know, I don't drink at all. So really, the only reason I'm interested in this is for the name recognition on the drink. So that's kind of what my part of it. As long as we get some kind of connectable, I don't know, connectable ale. Okay. Connect ale. I don't know. You see what I'm trying to get at? That's all I care about. The flavor, all that, just make the people happy, Deb. Whatever you think the people would enjoy and it would not leave them with a sour taste in their mouth, literally or figuratively, towards our podcast. That's all I care about.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. If I remember.
She's not going to remember. I don't even know why I wasted the last 2 minutes of this conversation. We have other things to talk about. The reality is, Deb is not going to do anything about this. Oh, do you like that? Do you like that? Is it a reality?
I can't make any promises, but I'll try.
I know. I feel like you missed my segue. That's fine.
Oh, I did miss it. Reality.
Okay. Should we just call this tonight? I feel like this podcast, this specific episode is going nowhere good.
In my head, I was going to ask you about Halloween, and to be honest, I didn't quite hear you. Well, before we started recording, I asked Josh, I was like, can you hear my washer and dryer and my dishwasher going in the background? Because those are all the things that are happening around me right now. And he's like, nope, you're good. We have, echo cancellation. When you whispered it, I didn't really hear you, I promise. And then when you said it, I was like, okay, he said reality, I think. And then it hit me. So,
that's a good point. I didn't really, when you mentioned the all of the machines that you have running at your factory, I thought it was I was more focused on my end and whether or not I could hear you in the recording. Didn't even think about the fact that you probably can't hear anything I'm saying.
Not when you whisper. That's all.
Okay, good to know. I do that a lot on this podcast for emphasis, but now I will not do that. We should have talked about this before the show, but that's okay.
This is what happened. It's okay. So the reality, like you said, of the situation.
Don't steal my segue. How dare you? How dare you, Deborah? All right. Anyways, we're not here to I mean, you guys tune in every week because this is what we do. But this time we do have a specific direction, and it is time for another connectable guest draft. And if, again, give a quick spiel of what that is if you haven't listened before. Every once in a while, Deb and I will do an episode where we draft based on a specific topic using only the guests who have appeared on this podcast. So we can only pick 5 guests from the previous episode. So this will be episode 202. Anybody who's been on the show prior to this is fair game. And in the past, there's been times where we said, okay, no family because, we did a zombie one. It feels weird not picking family. And then if I pick family, or if you pick family and friends, it turns into, it's our entire team. So it's not as much fun. But this one doesn't really apply. You can choose whoever you want. And it's always a fun way to, maintain connection with our guests that we've had on the show before. And it's just fun having the conversation and kind of dissecting and discussing who would be good on, whatever your top 5 list is. In the past, we've done a zombie draft, and we also did a heist crew. If you were to like rob a bank, or if you were to, like Ocean's 11, rob a casino, who would be part of your crew? So this week for the Connectable guest draft, we are doing casting for a reality show. Who are 5 people that we've had on this show that we feel would be great on a Big Brother real world type show? And so it will be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be an interesting conversation. This is probably the one where I'm like, I have no idea who you're going to pick. And as I was going through the list of guests, there's so many great options, and you really can't go wrong. But I do think there's some really good choices. So yeah, so that's the top 5, or excuse me, that's the guest draft that we're going to do tonight. We're going to do reality show casting, Connectable guest draft. Here we go.
It's so funny because the reality shows I've been watching lately are like Love is Blind, Bachelor. So I had to really switch my mindset. Like, it's not a love reality show. It's just a reality show.
Yeah. And I felt like this was the better way to go, because obviously there's so many different types of reality shows, right? Like if we did a Survivor or Amazing Race type show, that's a very different type of person that we would pick versus, like you said, it would probably get a little bit awkward if we're choosing like the Love is Blind type. Like I'm not going to just pair up random guests. Who knows? Maybe we could help you guys find love, but not really what I'm interested in doing here. So I felt like, and you would be you're more well versed in the reality shows, as you know. I'm not a huge fan of reality TV, but I get the general concept. And I have seen some episodes of Big Brother in the past. I never really got into the real world stuff. I understood kind of the concept, but that was never really my thing. But I feel like those would be more fun because it doesn't really necessarily require any certain level of athleticism or any sort of, like real true competition, right? Like it's more, you're kind of watching these people in this house, and obviously there are competitions here and there, but really, you're trying to you're just watching these people live, which is a weird thought to me. But yeah, I thought this would be a fun one. And honestly, I kind of feel like this was a suggestion that Jordan gave me. I'm gonna give him credit, and if not, then he still gets credit because I can't remember where it came from. But yeah. Anyways, I have 5 people. I have a couple of backups just in case we choose the same people. But I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'd be curious to see I feel like our lists are going to be pretty different this time.
Maybe. I was going to say, because this idea is very 90s. You said it was Jordan's idea?
Yes.
Very 90s of you, Jordan. Love it.
He's not going to like that, but go ahead.
I never really got into the real world or Big Brother, but I obviously know that it's just they're living their lives. And, I've watched the love reality shows. Other reality shows I watch are like the Kardashians. I used to watch Jersey Shore. And again, those people are just living their lives. Kardashians are, obviously everyone knows who they are. So it's like interesting to see what they're doing. But when Jersey Shore started, no one knew who, like just some random teenage, kids that they chose to be on the show. And we just watched them party and live and fight. And so interesting choice, Jordan. Love it. So I think our list is going to be different. I think.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that we're going to have no crossover.
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a reason why I think this, but I'll save it until the end.
Okay.
So, who wants to go first?
You want me to go first? You want to rock, paper, scissors for it?
Nah, I don't really want to do that. That's always awkward for the audio only listeners. Go ahead, Deb.
Okay.
They just hear this.
Right.
I'm not doing that.
Or it happens like 5 times in a row. It's like when I tell my high school kids to rock, paper, scissors for whoever, gets to start the game, and then 10 later, I'm like, you guys hurry up. They're like, no, we keep picking the same one, and it just takes forever. So okay, I'll go first.
Hold on. Quick side note on that. Do you have to, because you are working with high schoolers, and I feel like this comes up every time you do this. Do you have to explain to them it's like rock, paper, scissors, go, or rock, paper? You don't even explain it to them? Because I feel like that question would come up a million times.
They do it they figure it out themselves. Literally, they'll have a quick conversation. Okay, are we doing shoot or are we just doing rock, paper? Like they already know. And I'm like,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm not gonna micromanage this. You guys figure it out.
Very nice. You got rock, paper, scissors down. Very nice.
Yeah, they got it down. They're the ones who talk to each other beforehand, so that's nice.
You're working with some real geniuses.
Ugh, I can't. Let's not talk about this week. Why do you think I'm drinking? Okay, first.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's October, and this November. See, I don't even know what month it is. We need a break, is all I'm saying. So
that's okay. Yeah, let's move on. I forgot you are drinking. Let's not say something that I need to cut. Let's not talk about work anymore.
No. Okay, my first.
You just go through your list. It's like, and you know who else sucks? This student. Can't stand them. Hate their guts. As she takes another sip. All right, that's enough. We'll move on.
Okay. My first pick is Nicole.
Very nice. Nicole Scott.
Nicole Scott.
What are you going to do? I mean, she's your boss now. Of course you're going to pick her.
No. She's one of my really good friends. She's my boss, but I didn't just pick her. And the people I picked, some of them I am friends with them. A couple of them. I tried not to pick like, oh, just because they're my friend or good friends, but really, Nicole, it's not just because I've known her for a while, and she doesn't sugarcoat things.
Sure.
She'll just speak her mind, and she'll just say it like it is. And I feel like she would be like on a reality show, like when they interview people, she'll be the one just like exposing the truth. She'll be like, this is what it is, and this is why. She'll give the people what they want.
Sure.
Because she won't, try to say something just to be nice. But she's also, aside from that, she's also just full of wisdom, and she has, lots of things to say and ideas, and she's really feisty. So that would be fun to watch.
She is feisty. The few conversations I've had with Nicole, which is why she's always a fun guest to have on this show. Yeah. Now, is she a fan of reality TV?
She makes fun of me for watching the Kardashians for sure.
That's why I like Nicole. So I think that's why Nicole and I get along.
I don't know that she watches reality. Sorry, Nicole. I know you're listening. I don't know if she does. Definitely not the Kardashians.
Sure. No, I get that.
She thinks I'm an idiot for watching them, but I don't know. Maybe the loved ones she does, but she's more into like she's into the true crime, but that's not a reality show really. So.
Yeah. No, the only reason I ask, is because I feel like for some of the people on the list, I think they might have a decent grasp of like the reality show world, and if you brought them into that world, it would be really interesting because they kind of have an idea of what's going on. But if Nicole's not really into it at all, that's like a whole other kind of personality you bring into a situation like that. If they have no concept of how reality TV is.
Right.
That would be just as fun because they probably are going to shoot from the hip a lot.
Yeah.
And just
she'll shoot from the hip for sure.
Yeah, without this like thing in the back of your head, like, oh, how are they shooting this? How are they capturing this? What image am I putting out there? She's gonna be like, this is me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I would pick her.
I like it. Good choice.
Number one pick. Before you picked her, I had to pick her.
Sure. So my number one pick is a guy that when this topic came up, I'm like, oh, 100%. this guy would be perfect for a reality show. And that's our friend Cedric Frye, who I don't think you've been on the same episode with him. I know he's stepped in for you one time, and then I think he came on the show when you were on your little hiatus a couple years ago. But very funny guy, always fun chatting with him on the podcast. He's just got a humorous outlook on life, and like he understands social media and all that stuff. So I think just everything that he does, I think he'd be great on a reality show. He's a guy that everybody seems to like too. Like he's just a fun guy to be around. And I think putting him on a national spotlight or national platform like that on some kind of reality show would be wild. I think it'd be a wild thing. So Cedric would be perfect. And I'm sure anybody who knows Cedric, and Cedric, if you're listening, I imagine I would be interested. I'm wondering if you'd ever had any aspirations to be on some kind of reality show, because I feel like that fits your personality pretty well. But I could be wrong. I don't know him that well, but I'd be curious to see if anybody in his life or himself has ever tossed that idea out there that he should be on a reality show.
I feel like I've been on the episode with him, but maybe not.
I don't think so.
We missed that one.
Yeah, I think you may have missed that one. We need to make that happen at some point.
Yeah.
That was my first choice, Cedric Frye.
Cedric, I love it. Okay. My second choice. Okay, so when I first made my list, they were all chicks. Like they were all girls. Like, you know, I'm team girl, but then I'm like, I need to throw some guys in there because I can't just pick all the chicks. Because
sure,
chicks are the dominant species. But moving on. So. So the second person
she's not kidding.
I'm not kidding. But the second person I'm going to pick is Brendan Stapp from
nice.
Chris Keach from their podcast, The
Wolf Ticket podcast. Yeah.
I feel like Brendan would just speak his mind, similarly to Nicole. I feel like he doesn't, wouldn't mind. He wouldn't hide anything about his life. I feel like he just kind of would throw it all out there. Again, just some more ingredients for a good reality show.
Sure.
To just be like, hey, look, this is what it is, and this is my life, and I don't that's fine. I don't care who knows. I just think he would be very entertaining. And there was one episode of theirs that I listened to where he was clearly had a few too many beers, and it just was hysterical. So I think he would do very well on a reality show.
That's a very good choice. Very good choice. Yeah, he definitely seems to have that personality. I mean, we've only had one conversation with him, but between their podcast and the conversation that we had on here, yeah, no, I think he'd be great. He would
do well. It'd be entertaining. That's for sure.
And I get the sense, I don't know for sure, but I get the sense that he's well versed in reality TV. You know what I mean?
I would guess so too.
That's my guess. So he knows the game. He knows how to play it. So I think that's a great pick. So my number 2 is, this is a guy that we had on. He was our second guest of the podcast. So going all the way back to like episode 3 or 4, first time we ever had a guest. And I had to go back and listen. And when I listened, to some different chunks, reality shows actually came up on that episode. And I think you guys chatted about it a little bit. And that just kind of like further cements this pick for me, because I'm like, this guy, just his personality, he's a fun-loving guy. He's very funny, and he's just a cool dude. And I think his personality would be perfect on a reality show. And he has a beautiful beard to go with it. And that's our friend Jordan White from all the way back in the day. Yeah. I feel like having a guy with a beard like that would be perfect for a reality show. It's a very distinct look that he has. And I feel like because he understands the reality stuff, he's got a fun personality. I get the sense that he gets along with pretty much anybody he comes in contact with. Yeah. And he's also a musician. So he's got that like the wild artist side to him too. So I'm sure that he would be an unpredictable character on some reality show. And so I'm like, well, of course, you got to get that guy in the house.
That was a good pick. No, you need a musician on the show for sure.
Yeah, he just pulls out the acoustic guitar. I don't know if that's really his thing, but maybe he does.
Yeah.
just pulls out the guitar and just, starts playing for everybody. I don't know. But even if there's no guitar present, he would kill it on a reality show.
Yeah, I think so. You need a musician, someone who's got, a little bit of an edge, and he's got that like rocker musician edge to him. You need
Yep.
to put that in there as well. Yeah.
That's what I think. And he's a very funny guy. So, yeah, that's my pick. That's number 2.
I feel like he would keep it real too, but he would say like, keep it real, like with kindness. I feel
that's a good call. I think he would do that. Yeah. For sure.
Nice.
For sure.
Good pick. Okay. Was that your second one? I lost count.
That's my second one.
Okay. So my third pick going back, well, I guess not recently, but not too far back, is I fangirled her for years until Josh kind of encouraged me to reach out to her for her to be on the show. And then I ended up being on her show for a while. So that was super fun. But that's Chrystal Rose.
Very nice. I was wondering if you're going to pick Chrystal Rose.
Yeah, she's a life coach. I feel like she would also keep it real though. Just like on the episodes, like we would talk about just life situations. She's not afraid to talk about anything. Like I can guarantee you bring a topic up to her, no matter how crazy, offensive, or dumb you think it is, and she'll talk to you about it.
Sure.
Like no judgment. She'll just be real about it. And I feel like she just naturally wants to help people. So I can kind of also see her on a show being like the house mom, like the counselor, like,
sure.
If people are arguing, like her trying to like fix things kind of, I don't know if I want to use that word fix, but like, I feel like she would kind of just be the one to be there for people too. So you need someone like that in the house.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. Chrystal Rose, AKA the other woman. That's how I know her, because that's Deb's true love when it comes to podcast co-hosting. I play second fiddle, not a big deal. But like Deb said, it's my own fault. It's like I introduced my co-host to the mistress, and then they really hit it off. So I only have myself to blame.
We ran off into the sunset together, and Josh got really jealous. It's
like they ran off in the sunset together, but Deb wasn't trying to hide it. In fact, as they were running off, she was just flipping me off as they rode off in the sunset together. It's fine. I'm not jealous anymore. Chrystal and I have talked about this on the last episode she was on. It's fine. I understand my place. I'm confident enough. And the only thing that hurts is that Deb just laughs. Not once has Deb tried to like reassure me. It's like, it's okay. I would never leave this podcast for Chrystal. Like, it's very clear at the drop of a hat, Deb's gone. If there's like even a little bit of a better offer from Chrystal Rose, gone. So that's okay. Not the point. I'm sorry, everybody. It's not the point of this conversation. You pick Chrystal Rose for your reality show. And can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
In all seriousness, I feel like, and you know her obviously much better than I do, I feel like she would want no part of this nonsense.
Well, yeah, agree.
Is that true?
I don't think anybody would want any part of this nonsense, but she for sure, I know she would have some things to say about, like, I would never do a reality show.
Okay, I was going to say, that seems like her. I'm not saying anybody else wouldn't do that, but like she seems like the one where it'd be like, there's no way I'm stepping inside that house. There's no way.
She on one of the Love is Blind episodes, I think it was, or seasons, I think it was the one with Chelsea. Jordan will know who I'm talking about.
Sure.
She made this post kind of like talking about how Chelsea, just her personality and why she's behaving this way and stuff. So Chrystal wouldn't, this is not the people that we pick, by the way, is not to insult any of them and be like, oh, I could see you on a reality show.
No.
Right. But like, no, she would never.
No. And that's not to, I'm not trying. Those are two separate thoughts. This was kind of like, that's a great pick. And I understand why you picked her. I'm just saying, like, separate from this little draft we're doing, like, I feel like she would hate that the most.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. It's a good pick though. It's a good pick.
Yeah. I'm just saying, you need someone, if you're going to do a reality show, you need someone like Chrystal, who is just a badass. She's going to keep it real, and she's good at helping people. There you go.
There we go. Great call. Okay, so I have 1, 2. Okay, this is my third pick.
Yes.
Okay, again, it's another person that was not on the show while you were on here. uh,
Josh
so this
without
person was that?
he said Josh likes recording without me. Clearly.
That's not true. Deb just needed a little break at one point in this podcast, this life, and I graciously gave it to her, and then
You
she ran
did.
off with Chrystal Rose. It's my own fault.
I came back.
Huh?
I came back. It's fine.
You did come back. You did come back very like, I'm ready to podcast now. It's like, all right, it's been like 2 months. About time.
I had my mental breakdown. I feel better now.
Yeah. And despite, I just want to point this out, despite uh, how mean I am to Deb on this podcast, it was a lovely conversation. I'm like, hey, if you need a break,
Yeah.
take it. It's all good. And on the podcast, I bashed her. I was like, can you believe this clown? She's taking a break. She needs a little mental like mental relaxation. How dare she?
Yeah, you could sense the tension, the bitchiness on the other side of the phone from me, probably. You could.
Not
Like,
at all.
needs a
Not
break.
at all. In fact, can I be honest with you? If I could sense that, and if you were more like that with me, it'd probably be a little easier. But you're not. So it's really I have to really do some sleuthing, trying to figure out like what kind of mood she in. I can't tell. So a little easier when you're drinking on the podcast. I will say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes my job a little easier. It's like, all right, the real Dev's gonna step out right now. Anyways,
You're welcome.
my next guest that I'm gonna choose is someone who, very similar to what you've said about some of your guests, is more than willing to just keep it real, is not afraid to speak her mind and share. And if any of you follow this person on social media, she's very funny, and she's not afraid of the smoke. Like she wants all the smoke from everybody, and she'll put posts out there that are specifically calling groups of people out for dumb fitness trends, or strength training people that call her out or question her credibility. And that is our friend, former Penn State strength and conditioning coach, Jessica Burke. She is awesome, and you would love her. I don't know if you follow her, Deb, but she's a great follow. And yeah, she is. She'll go on our stories and she'll take shots. There was one that was really funny a couple weeks ago, where I think a bunch of guys had commented about her appearance or her knowledge about strength and training as a former D1 collegiate strength and conditioning coach. And then she just roasted them. She posted a picture of each of their faces and then just began to roast them. Like, I love a good roast, and this is fantastic. So I think she would be great. I don't know if she's into the reality show stuff, but I think her personality would be perfect for that. Because like I said, she's not going to take anything from anyone, and she's very funny. And so if it becomes a battle of the words, she'll be able to not only hold her own, but probably really crush some people. I'll say it. She's gonna give some memes out. She's gonna get some memes for sure. And anytime you want to roast someone, use a Jessica Burke meme.
I love a strong, badass chick who is not afraid of confrontation in a reality show, does not mind roasting anybody, especially guys, and she also like makes sense when she does it. Like it's
Yes.
not like a like, wham, you hit me, so I'm gonna hit you back. It's a legit like, oh, this is what you think. Let me give you some facts, and then you just throw it back in there.
Yeah.
That is the best. I love a good roast on a reality show when the whole audience, that there's, mouths are just wide open. Like,
Oh, I'm
yeah,
with you.
yeah,
So yeah, that's my third pick, Miss Jessica Burke.
love it. You have a good lineup. We have these would be
These
great.
these are great lineups.
I know. I feel like if all 10 people that will be in the house, that will be just a superb show. But let's see.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So I have two more. So my fourth pick is, I think she was on our show about a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago. She is this is another friend of mine, a former boxing instructor. She runs dance parties on her Instagram 24/7. So she's a fun party girl. But Natalie Linan. I
That
always say
makes
her.
sense. Oh, she would be great.
Natalie is just so like, hey, you need someone like Natalie on your show because she is just very cheerful, always smiling. She's always down to have these crazy conversations and have a good time. She's always dancing everywhere she goes. There's always someone like that on a reality show. You just got the crazy cool chick. Crazy cool. Cool crazy. More cool than crazy. She's crazy in a good way. That's what I'm saying.
Oof.
But she's fun. Yeah,
Yes,
fun. There we go.
absolutely.
Fun, cool chick, but she'll have deep conversations with you still. I feel like she does, like, obviously she does great, like, on podcasts and on camera and stuff, with, her day job. That's what, she does. She's in, I hope I don't butcher this. She's in marketing, I think. I always get people's jobs wrong, but she's basically like, the face of someone, and she does like all the advertising and stuff. I think, Natalie, if you're listening and I got that wrong, I do apologize. But she has a cool job that allows her to like travel and do stuff, and she's always posting on Instagram, and she's just a fun chick. So you got to have her on a show like that.
I agree. Yeah, and you're right. If you don't follow Natalie, she is always always has a smile on her face, always dancing. I can see that. If she was on a reality show, I feel like, like a lot of those reality shows, like at the end of the season, they kind of do like a recap of like the highlights of the show and of the season. I could see at the end of that show that she's on, there would just be like a compilation of all the times that she danced or was singing, or what I mean, like you could just like a whole like, and I feel like that's what she would become for like the viewers of this show. Like she's the one like the fun loving dancer, and then pretty soon she's like on like Good Morning America doing the whatever dance made her famous on the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I can see a path there.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So
good.
that's my Natalie.
Good choice. Yeah. And just go follow her. If Deb wasn't even close to being accurate about what she does for a living, just go follow her on social media, and then you can figure out for yourself, because I don't really know what she does either. Perfect. All right. So this next one is okay. So I feel like, again, we've picked a lot of people different. All these people I think have good senses of humor, but I kind of wanted to bring in a professional, someone who does this for a living, someone who makes jokes, who writes jokes, who stands on a stage and performs jokes for people, and their whole goal is to make people laugh. And I thought a guy who would be a lot of fun would be our friend Nathan Owens from the 4th and 10 podcast. Again, that was one that you weren't there for, Deb. Sorry, but just know he was awesome. And he's just, if you've never listened to the 4th and 10 podcast, it's great, especially if you enjoy sports. And honestly, even if you don't, like, I love sports, and so it's a fun podcast to listen to for me. But even if you don't love sports, these 4 guys that are on this podcast, 3 comedians, and they just have a great time, poking fun, talking about sports, roasting people, roasting each other. And so, I feel like because he's in that environment all the time, because he is a stand-up comedian, I think he'd be perfect on the show. I think having just that funny person who has some kind of commentary about everything that's going on, especially for a reality show, when they do their like their couch segment, right? Like when they have like the I forgot what it's called, but like when it's the solo interview, right, where they're giving commentary about what's going on in the house. I think if you have a stand-up comedian, I think that would be perfect. I think you have to have someone that just knows funny in that type of show. Like I said, we have a lot of funny people on our list, but I think having a real professional comedian would be perfect. So Nathan Owens, that's my 4th pick here.
Nice. I love it. Yeah, these were really, I love how you picked all the guests where I wasn't a part of, but
well, it wasn't intentional.
Well,
that's what, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm a hypocrite with who I'm going to pick, because I wasn't on this one either. My last one.
You weren't, or I wasn't?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So my 5th and final person that I pick is, so I wasn't on this interview when you interviewed him, but I do know him, have conversed with, have had interactions with him before. And then, listen to some of his podcasts before too. And that is Trent Ellerman. I think he would.
He was actually a backup on mine.
He was.
He
See,
was.
there you go. Trent. I feel like Trent would have good, like clean banter back and forth with people. I feel like he would have quick comebacks with people, but I also feel like he would be again another like kind person on the show, kind of like someone who has the voice of reason. I just, but he's got a really, great funny personality, so I think he would do great too. That's funny that you had him as a backup. What do you? So yeah. So what would be your reason? Am I totally off, or what would be your reasonings to pick him?
No. You're right. He's a people person for sure. Actually, I want to
Yeah.
get him back on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get him back on the podcast. I need to make a note of that because he was a lot of fun when he stepped in for you. Especially he was willing to step in very late because I think something came up for you, and so he was willing to do it last minute. But no, he's an awesome guy. He's a great conversationalist. He can talk to anybody. He's very friendly. The one thing though, I will say this, because you mentioned that he would have like the friendly banter. I would actually hope that he just like lets it rip, because I think I would be interested to see which side of Trent would come out, because I think there's two sides, and I think they're both genuine and they're both authentic, but like I think there's different sides to him. And I agree with you. I think there's the side that is like just friendly, kind, but like I kind of want the version like when he's with his boys, like the one that's gonna just like really let it rip, and like again just roast people. I feel like that's a big part of him too. I could be wrong, Trent. If I'm wrong, you can come on here and correct me. But like that's the part I would be more interested in seeing. I would be interested to see if he just like really let it rip, or if he's like, I'm gonna play it cool and I'm gonna be the the friendly face. I don't know. He could go, or it'd be like one of those shocking reality moments where it's like this really nice guy just finally snaps, and then it's just like lighting everybody up. That'd be fun.
I think he would surprise us. I think.
Oh, interesting.
Well, I mean, I think it would just, I think I'd be interested to see what Trent we would get.
Yeah. So all that being said, I agree with you. He'd be great. And for all the reasons that you said, 100%, like I think he would be, I think he'd be a fan favorite. I think people would really enjoy that and would really enjoy his presence on a show like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now him and Cedric are good friends. If you can get them on the same show, that was one of the other reasons why I thought it would be good to have him on there. Because I think the banter between them would be wild.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so that's been the closest that we've had a crossover with is Trent so far.
That was the closest one.
Okay.
Man, who do I go with?
I was gonna say I just said my 5, so you have one more.
I know I've got one more. Who do I want it to be? Okay, I'm gonna go with a.
We're trying to decide between two different people?
I am. And I'm going to be honest, both are really good choices. I'm not going to lie. Okay. I feel like I can't go wrong here.
Okay.
But, okay, I'm going to switch it. I'm going to flip who I had with someone else. Okay. So this person we've had on the show, I think she's been on the show twice. She's been on the show twice. Honestly, probably one of our more influential guests that we've had on the show. And again, very much someone, like if you follow her on social media, she is very much someone who shares her opinions, who I think loves people and cares a lot about people, but is not afraid to share her opinions and on all types of different things. And I think because she has such a big platform, I think that would benefit her as well, because I think she would understand the reality game, right? Like she understands like this is being seen by a lot of people, and I think the fact that she's used to that would be a huge benefit. And that is Melissa Cole, Trav's wife. She's got a huge platform, and like I said, if you follow her, then and she's she mentioned this on our podcast, that she's not afraid to share her opinions on different topics, controversial, not controversial, everything in between. And so I think she'd be great for her. And she's a fun person. Like, I think she's a fun person. I think she enjoys having fun. I think she's another great conversationalist. And I think she would bring a fun element to the house. So yeah, so I think
Yeah.
Melissa Cole would be my fifth choice. It was between her and Danny Garcia, who we have coming up on the show pretty soon here. So I flipped it because Danny would be great too, but I'll go with Melissa.
I'm just like envisioning all these people literally sitting down for interviews, having certain and I'm a story writer, right? So
Sure.
I literally I could probably write a script for how all these conversations with all of them would intertwine and go. I think this is like we should pitch this. This would be a great show. So all of our guests listening that we picked you, just know that we're coming for you. We're gonna try to make a reality show happen now.
Yeah, and whether you
I
like
know
it or not, we're
Crystal
just gonna pitch it.
Crystal's loving this idea for sure.
There's no way. Like I said, I just want to make it very clear. It's a great choice, but like I said, if you remove her from the game, and just I would love to know what her thoughts are on reality TV in general,
Oh, for sure.
because I feel like she doesn't. I get the sense she does not mess with it.
I don't know. Because honestly, okay, so for me, watching like Love is Blind and The Bachelor, I'm like, you couldn't pay me $1 million to be on these shows. Like, your business is out there. It's just, there's absolutely no way. But I watch it still, and I still think it's entertaining. I'll still break it down. So yeah, I'm wondering her thoughts on, like, I think she watches it, and I don't know, but I don't know if she likes it or how often she watches it or which shows she watches.
Sure.
But like, yeah, you couldn't pay me to do one either, but I still watch them. they're still they're still
Okay.
entertaining.
Sure. So you wouldn't do it at all.
No,
So you
no,
wouldn't. We've talked about this before. So you would not do the.
no.
Okay. Let me toss this out there because we wrap this up in like 40 minutes, which is unheard of for us. This is insane.
I know. We got to the point. We didn't do any. We didn't do a ton of updates before. We usually do that. We usually
That's
talk
true.
more.
I did tell my wife. I said this is a guest draft. I said this is usually a little tighter. So I
Yeah.
said you may see me sooner. She's like, oh, bummer.
Yeah.
She's like, you don't need to wrap it up that quickly. But okay, so let me ask you this: if given the option, you had to choose between being the Bachelorette or being on the Bachelor, what are you choosing?
None. Can I say none?
Not
Or do I?
not in this podcast. I'm sorry. None is not an answer.
Um.
Because I agree with you. Either one would suck. But like, which one would be better, or suck less?
I like the thought of being the Bachelorette, so I'm in control of things.
Sure, you're surrounded by a bunch of jack dudes, a couple
But
morons.
the thought of like dating, like I can't. There's no way. Like I even watch these shows and I'm like, how does she like have feelings for this guy and then goes on a date the next day with this guy and tells him the same thing? Like, there's no way. So I don't know if I could handle that. I might pull a Claire and just pick one up right off the bat and cancel the show and go. Might do that. But
Shout out
if
to
I
Claire. I reached out to Claire to be on the podcast.
you did.
She's Sacramento.
I know. She's Sacramento.
She did not get back to me.
Yeah, she's probably pretty busy. But
Yeah,
hey,
well,
you never know.
that's debatable.
Yeah.
But
But then to be on The Bachelor and I'm just, one of the many girls, the spotlight would kind of off of me a little more. And I probably would like that better. I can kind of sit back and hide in the background a little bit. But here's what would happen. I would just make friends. And then
do you
pretty
think
soon
you'd make friends?
I'd probably forget why I was there. Yeah. I would just talk to all the girls and make friends and then not even care about the dude after a while. And be like, and then wonder why I got sent home because I didn't talk to the guy. I'm just making friends.
You just
So
not even hug him when you're. I think you get.
I would go home so fast because I don't like to compete with girls. I don't like to do that. Like, I'm not interested in doing that. I certainly don't like, because the girls, they have to be aggressive and they have to get their time with the guy and they have to like go get him and stuff. And I don't know that I would do that. I think I would fail. I think I would go home like on the first night.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
I just know myself and I think that I would do horrible at either of them, but I think
Okay.
I would be more of a failure on The Bachelor.
I'll put a poll out there. We'll see what people think.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll put a poll out there. The poll's going to be: do you think we should sign Deb up for The Bachelor? You want to apply at least?
No.
Okay. just and I know I've pitched this before, but just think about this. Just think about this. We just need to get you into that first episode, right? And then we just need you to pitch the podcast. Can I be honest with you? I don't care if you find love there, but I do want listeners of our podcast. And if you just go out like a blaze of glory, and you put yourself in a dress that is the Connectable colors, has our logo, that would be fantastic. Just a thought.
You know how when the girls come out and they're saying hi to The Bachelor and it says the girl's name and her occupation?
Yes.
It's not going to say PE teacher or massage therapist. It's going to say Connectable podcast. And boom, there you go.
That's a good idea. Now,
I'll just talk about the podcast.
I don't want to be gross, but maybe keep the massage therapist part. Ditch the PE teacher. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to go in why, but I think we all understand what I'm trying to say here. Keep the massage therapist and podcaster. That's an interesting combo. PE teacher, kick rocks. No, you're right. No one's interested in that part of it, but everything else, pique their interest.
I will. Yeah, we won't. I won't. Yeah. I disagree with you on the PE teacher part, because anytime I have a conversation with a guy, whether it's online or a random guy, do you know how many guys are like, "Oh, you're a teacher," and they go straight to their like fantasy. Oh, I wish can you be my teacher? It's gross. It gets gross really fast.
Hold on.
It gets that is the most, and they don't care that I'm a massage therapist. They are so interested in the fact that I'm a teacher and a PE teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now this is episode 202, Deb. You should know that you cannot just say what you just did and not expect me to answer or ask questions.
Here, you thought we would be done at 40 minutes. This is why we're not. Go ahead.
This is why we keep going.
Yeah.
It's like in sports, right? You play until the whistle blows, because you never know what's going to happen. Okay.
Yeah. I don't even I don't even like putting teacher on the dating apps anymore, because then they're like, "You teach? What do you teach?" And I tell them what I teach and what grade level, and they immediately go to like, "Oh, I wish my PE teacher looked like you," and blah blah blah, and then I just lose them. I've lost them. And I can't. We're done. They just go straight to Fantasyland.
Yeah. There's so much I want to say. It's not this type of podcast. Put me in a tough spot, Deborah. You put me in a tough spot.
You and Jordan can ask me questions later. I'm sure Jordan will have questions.
I'll talk to Jordan about this later, but I'm not going to ask you any other questions I'm thinking. But no, that is tough. It's kind of it's one of those. It's a weird thing too. And sure, okay, we'll leave teacher on there. That's funny. That is a bizarre thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Don't get me wrong. Massage therapist. Yeah, like that is, that.
No, you make. I stand corrected. You make a good point. How many times has this happened?
Too many.
Jeez, really?
Too many. Like 9 out of 10.
Interesting. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10 will make a comment. 10 out of 10 will make a comment. 9 out of 10 will make a dirty comment.
Can you share what the worst thing that you've heard is?
No.
Really? Okay. Well, hold on. As soon as we're done with this conversation, I need to know. All right. That's one of those.
I can't think of something specific, but I can't. It's yeah.
The reason I'm curious is because that seems. I mean, again, I would never do it. I would never do that. Ask my wife. I've never done it to her.
Yeah, it's gross. It's the gross comments. Apparently boys have fantasies about some of their teachers who they have crushes on, because that's what I get when I hear these grown-ass men make comments like that to me. I'm like, yeah, I'll tell you off air. I can think of some things right now, actually. I'll tell you.
Yeah, we'll talk off air.
Tell you off air some.
I mean, I guess it's got to be nice that they think that of your appearance.
No, I just would rather this is where I'm not on dating apps anymore. I can't do it.
Can I be honest? Not to, at the risk of sounding gross, not my intention, but I feel like on a lot of those types of things, like if you ever like look at like a Lifetime movie, right? Or if you hear or read an article about this type of thing that happened with a teacher and a student, it's usually not the PE teacher.
Yeah.
It's usually like the English teacher, or the art teacher,
Yeah.
specifically English. I feel like English has a bad rap for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's never
Maybe. Yeah.
it's never the science teacher.
I don't know what your species thinks about or what they do. I don't get it, but those are the comments that I get some really gross comments. So
yeah, well, I'm not gonna take responsibility for all those guys, but I understand your point.
But circling back, that's why we'll just put podcaster on my title.
Well, I think you made a pretty good case to put teacher on there, so I think you're right.
We'll just keep teacher.
Sure.
Well, high school PE teacher. You have to keep that whole thing together.
Yeah.
It's not interesting until I say high school PE.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. See, I've always wondered what it would be like if we started a Patreon for this podcast and how we could do that. But then we start getting a bunch of these guys that you talk to. It's like, so is Patreon the same thing as like an OnlyFans? No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm on there too. I'm on Patreon. Sorry, guys. I can dress up like Deb again if you want. That was a lot of fun. Check out our Halloween episode.
That's great. Episode 200.
Episode 200.
I was so in my feels about my goth costume that I went out and bought a different wig and got a different outfit. Not got a different outfit, but threw on a different outfit for a Halloween night.
Like, I saw your October photo dump.
Yeah, that was on Halloween night. So at school, I dressed up. I had scrubs from last year's costume.
Sure.
And I dressed up as a nurse at school, which is a whole nother thing because my kids are like, "Are you a nurse? You look like a nurse." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a teacher and a nurse." I'm very concerned about their intellectuals right now because, I'm like, "Yep, I do both." I literally walked around and said, "Yeah, this is my side job," and they're like, "You guys, that's her side job." I'm like, I can't even. Okay. So anyway, I guess I look like a nerd, but
it's not that far out of the realm of possibilities because you are a bartender now. You also have your own massage business and you're a podcaster and you're a teacher. So like, why not they think the best of you and they think, yeah, maybe she's a surgeon too or a nurse.
I don't have a life. So they know that. So
well, that's a rough way to put it.
There you go. But then, so I was a nurse at school. And then after school, I came home, walked Nala, changed into my new goth outfit, and went to log off with Nala. I sat at the bar. Nicole walked by me twice because I didn't say anything. She didn't recognize me.
Wow.
And then she finally like walked by again, and I think I like said hey or something, and she kind of like did a half glance of like hi, like just kind of saying hi to a customer, and then she stopped and she looked at me and she goes, "Oh my God." I think she said fuck. I don't know. She said something. And
she was shocked.
She kept looking at me and she's like, "Oh my God, I did not recognize you. What are you doing?" And I'm like, "This is my costume tonight." So I did that. And then I walked around my neighborhood with Nala at night just to kind of watch all, kids trick-or-treating, watch their outfits. It was super cute.
Sure.
I walked by a house that reminded me of myself and my friends. There were these ladies outside with their glasses of wine.
Okay.
Candy at people. It was great. And
did you join?
No, but they gave Nala a dog treat and they gave me a piece of candy.
Very nice. Oh, they didn't share the wine though.
No, that would have been nice. That would have been fun. Should have just invited myself. I would have just been like, "I'll take a glass of that."
There you go. Very nice. Well, it sounds like it was a fun night.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. So, sorry, I don't know how we got onto Halloween. But
I don't know. Creepy teacher stories.
Creepy teacher story.
I don't know. You're right. It would be a tough one to follow the thread through. But yeah.
Yeah.
So we were talking about the reality shows. So you wouldn't do The Bachelor. See, I don't know what kind of show I could do. Like I said, Survivor, like my wife loves Survivor. That seems miserable. I want no part of that. Like, it doesn't seem fun. It's like, that's a great way of losing weight. Those people lose a ridiculous amount of weight when they're on that show. But
there's no food. They have to hunt their food.
Exactly. So yeah, not interested in that. Yeah. See, I don't think I don't think I have the personality to do a show like that. I think I'd be pretty boring, and I think I would suck at most of those. So, but what Love Is Blind? Would you try that? You've been talking about that recently.
Again, no. I mean, the concept, no, because the concept is better than like, oh, one person vying for like 25 people. Now it's like, oh, everyone can match with someone. That's cool. But I don't like the concept of you get married after 1 month. I do like the concept of talking behind a wall and not being so caught up in like what they look like and stuff. But 1 month is not enough time at
Okay.
all. When
So,
so I'm
so I'm
always
not.
surprised
Okay.
a couple does get married and they do go through with it and they do the reunion and they're still together. I was like, holy shit, they're still together. It's
It worked
cool.
out well. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the show. I understand the general concept of it.
Mhm.
How much of a margin would you have as far as the appearance of the person? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how much grace is there for the appearance? Like, how much do you think the talking would make up for the appearance? Because that would be the worst thing ever. It's like you hit it off, but then it's like a real shock on the other side. Like, oh no.
I know, and it sucks, and it makes people seem like they're shallow or they're assholes or whatever. But I'm sorry, but you have to be attracted to the person.
Sure,
Like
you're just doing the opposite order of how it normally would go.
right? Like you can have a great connection with someone, but if you guys like, it's not just the looks; it's like the chemistry too.
Sure.
Like the mannerism, because then you can finally physically see their mannerisms, how they talk or how they walk or how they whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's very I mean it could be a turning point for someone, not gonna lie. so so
Yeah.
I don't know, it's very, I mean, it's kind of like online dating where you see their pictures, right? So like it's kind of, it's cheating, you can see them, but you're
Sure.
talking, you're texting or you're just talking even just on the phone or whatever, but you not until you meet them and see how they move and see how, like, it's different when it's in person.
Sure.
Then you get a full feel of like, okay, I'm into this person or I'm not, because some you can be good pen pals, but it doesn't mean that you want to be with them.
Pen pals.
Yeah.
Like a prisoner.
Yeah.
Sending pen
So
pals to Folsom Prison.
yeah, right. You can write letters to each other and have good conversations, but it doesn't mean you want to be with them.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. As far as the online dating thing, like you said, you can see the picture. Has there been a situation where, maybe the picture, the photo was doing a lot of work and it was not quite as advertised?
You mean catfishing?
No, not 100% catfishing. Like it's the actual person, but like they really chose the best version of themselves for the picture. You know what I'm saying? Where like the picture that you saw doesn't quite, I'm not saying it's a completely different person, but like where you see a picture that's maybe like the best representation of them, but then you see them in person, it's like, okay, there was, like I said, that picture was doing a lot of work, did a lot of heavy lifting, if you will.
Like, have I been on dates like that and have I seen it?
Has that happened? Yeah.
I mean, I think a couple of times. Yeah.
That would be interesting. That's an interesting part of it. Cause I mean, the picture is like, the picture can only do so much, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I hear a lot of guys complain about how they hate when girls use filters on dating on like the apps.
That's a great example.
Well, let me just point out, it's not just the girls who use the filters.
Sure.
I run across, as soon as I see that a guy has a filter, I'm just like, why? But anyway, so it happens. It can be, I mean, you pick the best pictures of yourself, right? And then
sure.
So it's just different when it's in person. So the Love Is Blind concept, it's an interesting concept, but then once you meet them, you feel like I'm sure they feel like assholes when they're like, I'm not really into this person like I thought I was.
Sure.
You feel like an asshole, and then you look like an asshole because you're on national television. So no, I would love it.
Yeah, that would be tough. Yeah. All that being said, I'm still not interested in watching that show, but people love it, so I'm glad that people get so much enjoyment out of it. I also can't get this idea out of my head that Deb's using her staff photo for her dating profiles with this whole teacher connection thing. Can you imagine? No. It's like, look at that teacher. look at, she's using her staff photos. The best day ever. I can see a world where that would be beneficial for you. Not meeting the people you want to meet, but you'd probably get some attention.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Or your guys' PE polos.
Polos. Oh my God. Yeah. That is the one thing that I refuse to take every year is a staff photo.
You refuse to take it?
Well, I'll do a group photo with everyone, like the one that we have to take, but they're like individual photos. I'm like, no.
Really?
And I won't do it.
I didn't even know you could do that.
I'm not going to keep a photo of myself. Like, no, I'm not doing it. Sorry.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Never do.
There you go.
Does she take a photo every year?
Yeah, I think so, for like her badge.
Yeah, I don't wear a badge. I just don't follow the rules.
See, again, that's probably a good place to wrap it up. But I feel like any guy who's listening right now, you're making it worse for yourself, Deb. It's like, oh, a teacher that doesn't follow the rules. Perfect. Anyway, here we go. Let's wrap this thing up. Deb, where can they follow us on social media?
You guys can follow us we have Twitter at connectablepod and every other social media like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. We are at Connectable Podcast.
Yep. And then please subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app or YouTube, not or YouTube, do both, and YouTube. And then please, if you have some time, head over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify to give us a 5-star rating and review. We would greatly appreciate it. And if you know anybody that's looking for a new podcast to listen to, send them our way, because we're always looking for more people. And we have so many episodes they can listen to. So it's like they have 202 episodes that they can listen to and catch up. So, I think it'd be a good place to start. Just send them to us, send them our way. And then after that, they can find the bigger and better podcast, but have them start small with our podcast. And then, we would appreciate it. So Deb, we will talk next week. We have I think I'm not going to say the name, but we have a pretty exciting guest next week. And we're not going to say it right now, just in case plans change. You never know. It's part of the podcasting game. You get excited for a guest and then they bail. I don't think he's going to bail on us, but it's happened to us before. So anyways, that's my own personal thing I didn't bring onto the air. So anyways,
we're prepared for the breakup since we're talking about love reality show.
Yeah. Always brace yourself. It's like, I know they're going to leave. They're not going to come onto this show like they promised. So anyways, all that being said, it's a fun episode and we will see you guys next week. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for watching the show. If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you like it, share it, and hit the subscribe button to get a new episode every week. We'll see you next time on the Connectable Podcast.